friends, Allison here with AJ's Inspired Life, and I'm back with the next step of my project for you guys. I am going to bind the pages that we took out earlier from the magazine, and I went ahead and made a cover for it. So this is just not thick enough paper, really. So I went ahead and chose a piece of double-sided scrapbook paper. It is a little bit thicker. It's not pure cardstock, but it's not, you know, it's the same as this, but it's not thick, but it will be just fine. And then I went ahead and put some glitter Mod Podge on it. And do I have you guys? Yes, I do. And then stitched around the outside. And then I'm going to go ahead and bind it. And I have a handy dandy little book binding kit here I bought. You don't need this. I bought it because I was trying to find like this and then the needle and just whatever. And they had a good one on Amazon. So, but you do not need this to bind a book. Now I'm going to link Kristie Biddleson, and I'm going to make myself a note right here. I'm going to link Kristie and Elizabeth on this because they both have binding tutorials that are going to be way better than this one. So I'm going to use black ink just because black thread, because it's going to match this. And I haven't actually, maybe I used it once or twice. I only know one way to do this, and it is the way I learned from those two lovely ladies. So I will defer you to them for any other questions you have after this. How about that? All right. I do, about 3 links. So basically you need something to poke holes, you need some string, and you need something to get the string through the holes. Okay. So that could be, it does not have to be an awl. You could use even a paper punch. It might be big, but some of them are small. You could use a small paper punch if you can reach it in here. The problem is you can't normally reach it in here. You could use something else with a cutting mat underneath, like an eyelet setter that we had with like the hammers or something, and poke, if you wanted to do this and do that. So, okay, I folded all these earlier. I have them. They're all the exact same size, so that makes it easy. I went ahead and cut this. All I did was, this is a 12 by 12 sheet. It's the exact same as one of these, okay? I just folded up this edge to get the measurement I wanted. And then I cut a section out of the middle to take away some of that thickness there, so it can close a little bit more easily. I did make it a tad bigger than these papers. And by a tad, I mean, that's how I measured it. I don't know what a tad is, but an ooch, a little bit bigger. How about that? Just so it can hold it. And there is much more precise ways to do this. But what I do is just get it where I want it. And then I clip it in place. And again, this is a little bit easier to do because all the pages are exactly the same. If you're working with like a junk journal where there's like envelopes or mismatched sizes, and some of them don't even come up to the top, it's a little bit harder to get them all in one place. So for some of you, this is going to cause anxiety. So I'm just going to tell you now, look away. I'm not going to measure. What you could do if you wanted to, we could do it for fun. You want to measure one in the middle. Okay. So this is 8 1/4. Okay. Total, we'll say 8 1/2 with the cover, which is going to put you, somewhere in here, right? I mean, 4 1/2 would be like right here, 4 1/4. So we can do that. You can make a mark if you want. I have a erasable pen here, so we'll try it. We'll be kind of official. I'm going to make a mark here at 4 1/4, and then whatever whatever your measurement is, you want to come in the same and the same. I eyeball it. That's the part I think would cause some people anxiety. If you want to measure it, then measure it. So from this top part, I'll come an inch in. That's fine. And so this is 8.5. I would come to 7.5. Okay. So this is way more official than I was going to be. Okay. Some people poke into a book, like a phone book or something, or a cutting mat or something like that. What you don't want to do is cut your finger. Okay. And I think it depends on how many pages you're doing, all that kind of stuff. Okay. But I'm just going to push this guy through. And it's going to look like that. And I go kind of in here so I get a big enough hole. Now you don't need it to be ginormous, but I like it a little bit bigger. It makes it easier for the needle to go through. And again, this is just for fun. It's not like a professional job. So I'm going to do the same thing up here. I'm just going to ooch that guy through. Okay, and pull it out. And then same thing down here. And again, you're making sure your finger is clear of that all going through. Okay. All right, and then you're done with this, and I lost the cap thing to it, but it's super sharp, so be careful if you have one. Okay, all right. Then you're going to take a needle that's big enough to thread your thread through, and you can use whatever you want. You don't need special thread. I bought special thread. You do not need it. This is like a wax. You could use any embroidery thread. You could double up a bunch of times. You could use any other sort of string. I had this one as well. So I bought this at like a thrift store or somewhere before I bought the book kit. Okay. And you're just gonna get your thread looped. Now, the major decision with a 3-hole, I don't know any other way to do this except the 3 holes. So there's a bazillion tutorials on YouTube on how to do this. The major decision you have to make though is, do you want your tail in the middle of your book, or do you want it on the outside of your book? Okay. I tend to put them on the outside of my book because I like to use them as tails and knot them. And I'm really hoping for this one that I find some seashells or something on our trip that I can tie on here. Okay. I like to add dangles and stuff to the outside. So I normally go from the outside. So that's what I'm going to do. And we're going to go in the middle. Okay. And just, you know, hold it gently with your finger. Make sure you don't pull it all the way through. Okay. So we're going to come up through the middle. We're going to go down through the top. And again, please go watch someone who knows what they're doing. Okay. For a real tutorial. Down through the top. And then we're going to come all the way to the other hole down here at the bottom and come up through the bottom. Okay, so up through the middle, down through the top, all the way back up through the bottom, and then back through the middle. So you have 2 tails now here. Okay, I'm going to take my needle out. Okay, now the only, you know, okay, I do 2 things here. Hold on. So see how it is this string here? I always separate them. I always put one on each side. I don't know why. It's just what I do. Now, your job is to hold one of these strings fairly tightly, okay? And pull and make sure the rest of these are as tight as you can get them. You don't want to like rip the paper, obviously, but you need it to hold in this. So can you see how taut that is? And like, okay, so I think that's tight enough. Just kind of ooch it a little bit more. You can definitely do a different binding on this. You could go back through the holes a different way. There's lots and lots of fancy ways to do this. That is not my jam. Okay, I do it on each side of this thread though, and then you just tie it, okay? Right over left, left over right. Have a nice little solid knot. Then you can do whatever you want, right? Then you could tie on ribbons. You could cut this in half sometimes and I dangle more. You could do whatever you want with this, but now it's secured, okay? And you don't have to make your holes as big as mine. If you want a smaller hole, you don't have to make them that big, but I feel like they're okay. Now, you can see here, I missed the middle a little bit. See how this one's like more like on the binding and this one's off on the front a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna totally sleep fine tonight with that, okay? It's totally fine. All right, and then it's just a junk journal for me. So, okay, if you have your hole more in the middle, it wouldn't kind of rip right there, okay? But it's completely fine. Okay, so that is the junk journal today. So I'm kind of pleased with that. I actually like the cover. I like the Mod Podge on the front. I am going to cut these. I know some of you like those hanging off. I like them hanging off of some things, obviously. I'm pleased with that. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I might give this away as a Happy Mail. I'm not too sure yet. So I don't know if I want to add too much to it or what I want to do with it. But that is the use of all those papers from that paper magazine. I just used them all in one book. Well, with the exception of the 2 I saved, obviously. And again, I'm really pleased with that. Now, if you want, I've told you this, a lot of people use this section and make this a pocket so you could glue or staple these sides and then you have a pocket in the middle. I really like this open layout. So I am totally going to leave that. If I do give it away and the other person wants to do that, then they certainly can. So, yeah, so I'm kind of happy with my little book today. So yay, project done. All right, you guys have a great night. Thanks for watching. And I hope you find something today that inspires you. Have a great day. Bye.